What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So in the last video we went over creating this fair value gap indicator, but obviously we have an error. So did a little bit of thinking, and I think I have a solution to that. So right now what we're doing is let me pull it up, but we're starting from the farthest left bar, so the first bar in time, and then moving through each bar up to the nearest, the most recent bar. That is definitely possible, but it makes it a little bit more complicated than what we need. It would be simpler, I realized, if we start with the most recent bar, so bar 0, right, and go back each bar, bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is what we are going to do. This is an indicator. So basically we just need to change all of these. So what to start with the most recent bar and move back each bar, we're going to do int I equals 0, because 0 is the most recent bar. Then if I is less than current bar minus, so say there's 5,000 bars, right? Current bar will be 5,000. We'll do minus 3. Then add 1. So right, so say we'll start at bar 0 and we'll do the logic. Then we'll add 1 and then we'll be at bar 1 and do everything, yada yada. So then we have all these bars here until we get to, this is the first bar in the chart. Then we have the second and third and fourth. So if current bar, say, is 1,000, right? Once I is 1,000, we'll be comparing this candle, but we can't because we need what is it? At least one candle ahead of it, right? To see if this has a fair value here. So it should just be minus 1. And then if so when I gets to 999, then yeah, that should work. So now we just need to change everything in here. So for a fair value to be up, we need, so also, I mean, it sounds like a fair value, which I didn't know before, is just, actually, let me change this to green, for a green candle, is, ignore that, is this is basically just if the low is greater than the high 2 candles before. So then this would be the gap. At least that's how I understand it now. So that shouldn't be too hard. We'll just do we will do, so if there's an up one, if I, right? I is always going to be this candle. So we'll do if high I which is right here. Right here. This is high I, this point. So if I is greater than I plus 2, fair value count. Okay, wait, no, I'm doing this backwards. This should be for fair value, fair is FVG down. So we'll do, this is actually low I, and then high I plus 2. So those are what we need to compare. So we'll do low I, and then high I plus 2, and then low I plus 2, and high I. Then time going to be time I. Actually, let's do time is going to be time I minus 1, because we want the time, the fair, because if we're on this candle, right, if I is this candle, we want the time to be of this candle, because this is where the fair value gap is, you know. So that'll be I minus 1. Then if we have a fair value gap up, which means R, oh, so here's a fair value gap low, so we'll do that. So if we have a fair value gap up, then the low is going to be okay, let's draw it if we have a so in this case the high of the box is going to be low I plus 2. So low I plus 2. If not, then if we have a FVG down, then the high of the box is going to be low I. Now if we have FVG up, then the low is going to be high I. But if it's a down, then the low is going to be high I plus 2. Then, yes, this should work. So let's compile that. And see what we get. Okay. So we get some sort of out of index error. So we're still getting an error. All right. So our error is coming from, oh, yeah. That was dumb. Dumb mistake by me. It's because we did -1. So when 1 is, if 0 is the most recent bar, you can't have a -1 bar. So yeah, just change that to +1 and compile again. No more error. Let's see, should get a box here, hopefully. Let it finish calculating. Yeah, I probably didn't need to put this many bars on the chart. Alright, so one thing I noticed is that when you put it on the chart, it takes a while to load. So I only have 5 days of data here, and it still took a little bit. And that's because on every bar, every new bar that's printing, we're running on every bar behind it again, and just printing the same value, same fair value gaps again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole section of our logic, Control X, and we're going to create a new method of just FEG logic, and then we're going to paste it. Then when else if state equals state.data loaded, then we will do FEG logic. So once we have our data loaded, we'll just run through it. I think data load is usually only called 1 or 2 times, and then it'll run through it. Should be a lot quicker. And then I believe if so, then as long as we are in real time, then we will continue updating it on every candle. Not sure if we want to do that. No, we don't. We want to change it so it only runs on the new candles. So for now we'll leave it, but let's see if this works. And it should speed it up a little bit too. Okay, so it didn't do anything. Oh, actually, yeah, our data is already loaded, so it's not going to call it. So we need one where it's going to call it only once. Okay, so we'll do it on states dot transition, and then let's print transition. And then we'll load it up again. And there we go. Much quicker now. Only ran through that code one time. And now the only issue is, as every new bar is printed, right, it's going to run through that all again, which we don't want because we already have these. And then, I mean, yeah, these all, as far as I know, look like fair value gaps. Obviously, there's a lot, but there's still a decent amount left of the video, so maybe he filters them out.
Something
Let's
like
get back
we
to the
create
video.
input variables, maybe like fair value gap, minimum points, which would be
Yep,
like
that's exactly what he's doing.
10. Then we can have fair value gap maximum length, which could be like 20. And we can also have the maximum points for the fair value gap, of course. Could be, I don't know, I would just choose 200 here. And we can now use these input variables. Here, for example, for the length, we can use fair value gap maximum length. Then for the size, we will then check here if the fair value gap.
So now he's doing that exact thing that we talked about and adding parameters. So let's do the same. So come down to the parameter section and we'll do max VG max ticks. You just do Control D to duplicate it. Min ticks. And then VG max max minutes. It'd be better if it was max bars, wouldn't it? Time dots. How do I? Is there a way to add the bars? Add. Is there a way to do that? Bars period. That bars period type. No, that's not the daytime. That was just, yeah. So we'll just do add minutes for now. Max minutes. So this should be good. Let's see, we're getting. Oh yeah, we got rid of that. Do an error down here. Oh jeez. I've never seen this before. Is this just an? Yeah, this has to be just an indicator thing. Oh, that's annoying. So we're gonna have to change it all out. Gosh, that's annoying. Actually, once he has all of them, we'll just create a new indicator with our new properties, and we should be able to just copy and paste that straight into here. So let's see what else he creates.
Gap here. If this fair value gap is greater than fair value gap minimum points multiplied with point, and we want to check, yeah, we don't even need this, and we want to check if this is smaller than the maximum points for this fair value gap. Also, we want to check here if its fair value gap is bigger than the minimum points and less than the maximum points.
All right, so let's add this in. This is just comparing the size, making sure we have the right size of the thing. So we want. Okay, so now remember his I plus 2 and low I are completely different from ours. So just completely ignore that. But yeah, so the high is going to be higher. So we just can subtract and then make sure that it is greater than min 6. Our high minus low is going to give us it in points, because it could be 1,000 minus 900. That'll give us 100. If ticks, if somebody puts in 10 ticks, that's 2.5 points. So we want to multiply by bars dot instrument dot master instrument dot tick size, and make sure the high minus the low is less than max ticks multiplied by tick size. Then same thing down here. This will give us a negative number, so let's do math dot absolute min6 times bars dot instrument dot master instrument dot tick size and control it, or copy it, I mean, and paste child less than max ticks. Alright.
Like this, maximum points. So if we compile this again, we should now see, whoopsala, this is updated. Yeah, everything is now a bit longer because I set this to 20 and looks a little bit messy, gotta be honest here. But yeah, it should be correct as it is. No, it's not. Wait, if the fair value gap up. Oh, we have to turn this around, I think. It has to be like this because the low is above the high. And for here, this should be correct. Yeah, looks better now. Okay, so we're good to go, I think. So this will display the fair value gaps. Now, what I also wanted to add for the program is, since this is an indicator, we can have indicator buffers that are displayed in the data window. I mean, this is not super important. Yeah, maybe we'll do this in the end. So first of all, what I want to do next is, we have to take care of several more things. So what I like to do is, I want to check if these fair value gaps are closed. So let me show it to you in the finished EA or indicator. So what I want to do is, if we have a fair value gap, for example, this one here, this orange one, it is for this bar, and then there are bars below this fair value gap. But at some point in this bar reaches the top of this fair value gap. And in this case, I want this fair value gap to end because it is closed at this point. And we will have to add code for this. So to make sure that we can keep track of all of fair value gaps, we want to store them in an array. So what we want to do here is, we want to say include arrays, array object, because these are objects here, or we will make them objects. And if we compile this, we now have access to the C array object class. Again, I will not explain it here. Check out the link in the video description if you want to learn more. I will explain everything in this complete course. So now we have access to the C array object class. And here we can create a variable, an object variable of type C array object. And this will be called gap.
All right, let's get our inputs working first. So to do that, let's go to indicators, new indicator. Just name it whatever. Then we come to input parameters, and we name them min ticks, max ticks, and max minutes. So min ticks, max ticks, and max minutes. Now let's generate that. And now what was it named? My custom indicator. Oh, it opened automatically. Okay, so it looks like this is what it should look like. So we're just going to take that down and copy all the rest of that, and then really hope that it works in here. Okay, so it looks like our actual indicator name is the fair value gaps. And then we need to change these to capital. That's just how Ninjascript created our new ones. And there we go. So yeah, let's test that real quick. Compile it. Now we can also and then let's delete that indicator. Where'd it go? Mama indicator. That's funny. Did it delete by itself? Oh, I'm stranded. There we go. Did it go to the bottom? Looks like it deleted itself. But anyway, let's put our new one on the charts. Remove, add, apply, and you get an error. So we need to remove it. Right now, by default, these all come as 0, but we don't allow it to be 0 in here, so then it doesn't work. So let's just set the default min-tix equals, say, 10, max tix equals 50, and then max minutes equals 10. Min-tix, let's do, no, that's fine. But let's just put in the same thing here. Now apply, and there we go. But this is wrong. Yep, definitely wrong. So let's see. for an up is when the fair value gap is above price. So this one is an up, and this one is a down. So for the up, we want the high of I here. Oh yeah, it's inverted. So we should take the so what we really want is just this distance. So should be able to do math absolute here. Because now we're taking the high of I, which is here, minus this, which will be a negative number, but then we just becomes positive because of taking the absolute. And same thing on this one. Now for the down, it's low of I minus high here. Should be greater than min 6 times and greater than min 6 times. So compile that again. Indicators, remove, and add our new one. And there we go. Oh. This one is wrong. They both are wrong. Okay. What is going on? Alright, so let's only do oh, what is going on? Less than max ticks. What in the world? How is it 1 dash? So they're all gonna have a 1 in front of it. How's it a negative 1? That doesn't make sense. 16, 6.5. Okay, let's redo it because I'm not kind of confused what's going on. So for an up, it's going to be right when the gap is above price. So it's going to be if low I plus 2 minus high I is greater than the min ticks price, and less than the max ticks. And yeah, 10 ticks should be 2.5 points. Then for the down is when price is below it, so we're going to do low I minus high I plus I plus 2. Less than max. Okay. Let's compile that. Okay, there we go. No idea why that was doing that, but yeah, looks like it's working, right? This one was probably too big. This one too big. These were the right size, right size. Let's see. Where should there have been another one? Yeah. Well, yeah, here should have been one. Yeah, here should have been one. It was probably too small. Okay, so we got that working. That was annoying. And then,
and
all right, we need to see if we can create an array of the gaps, which I'm not even sure how. Let's see.
in this gaps array, we now want to store all the fair value gaps, right? So what we can do is here, when we have a fair value gap, we want to store it in the.
So to do a regular array, we just do double this, and then, you can do gaps. But that's only going to take the double data type. So, can we do C fair value gap gaps? Oh yeah, we can. Perfect. That's easy. So just putting the, oh yeah, yeah, obviously. So just like how we created, where is it? Just like how we create one, right? This is creating one. It would be the same as, if we had a double. That's saving one double variable. But instead we're using the object C fair value gap, and now we just put this behind it, just like you would a double or any other data type, and now it saves an array of it. So we have that.
Gaps array. So we will just go
Now,
like, wait, let me check this. Gaps, yeah, it's.
now I'm, just to avoid any errors, pretty sure we're still going to need this. So we'll just do that in the, where do we want to do that? Before the transition, because we want to store them. So gaps equals, there we go. Okay.
We want to go gaps, add, and here you can see we can add elements. So we will try to add this fair value gap object here, but this doesn't work because a parameter conversion is not allowed, because this is right now not an object. So to do this, we will have to make this inherit from C object. So this will make our C fair value gap class a class that inherits from C object. So every fair value gap is now also an object. Still, we cannot put it into our gaps array, because if we have a closer look, we can see it's not a C object that is requested, but it is, with this little star, it's a pointer to a object variable. So what we have to do is, instead of just declaring the variable like this, we have to say this is a pointer with this little star. So if we compile now, you can see the error is gone, but still we will get a runtime error. This is because we have an invalid pointer access. This is because this is now a pointer, and first of all, it points pretty much to nothing. So we will have to give it an object where it can point to. So we will create this object here using this new operator. And you always use this new operator to create objects. Create objects. So, okay, if we compile this now, you can see everything should be working again. We don't get any errors. And now we can store these objects in our gaps array. Why do we do all of this? I mean, we do this because now, after storing all of these things in the array, we can loop through this array. And we will go for int j is gaps total minus 1, j is greater or equal to 0, j minus minus. Make sure to use j here, not I, because this is a different loop inside of this loop. And find not a single fair value array fair value here. And then I mean, it's fair value, fair, just the other for the check, but time has index 0, the second time has index 1, this, and the fair value gaps, yeah, there we go. And let me show you what we just added. So we just added this. So whenever the fair value gap is closed, yeah, I can show it to you here also. When the fair value gap is closed, it's not, or ended before the line, before move the fair value gap draw thingy down here, and then it should end before the fair value gap is closed. But yeah, like,
okay, well, to be honest, I have pretty much no clue how to do this whole thing. Creating an array of the object gaps.
in this case, you just
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. I don't know how to do this. But, I mean, looks like the only thing he's really doing is once it's closing over it, then we just ending it there. Which, I mean, yeah, it definitely would be useful, but I mean, the indicator still works. So, this creates a new object every time, but we only want one object array. Oh, What the heck? That's it? That should be it, because append is just you're adding to the end. Oh, that was easy. So maybe that'll work. Let's see. Then on every bar, we will print the gaps dot count, and this will print however many gap or how many different things we have in the gaps. So basically, each gap is going to be saved in there, and it'll count them all at the end. And that's just to check if it's working. Value cannot be null. Parameter name source. Okay, yeah. So wait. Okay, there we go. Now, after that runs and we print them all, then let's count them. So I think we couldn't do it here because on the first few bars we have 0. And so you can't count how many things are in an array with nothing in it. Okay, we're getting 0, which it should not be 0. Gaps dot length. Still 0. So not sure if it's adding them, but yeah, not sure if it's adding them. Alright, so these printing the counting, I mean it should append a value to the end of the sequence. I mean, yeah, it should be adding this. And the count should be going up. I don't get why it wouldn't. But yeah, it's still saying 0 all the way through. Gaps dot. Let's ask ChatGPT. Well, actually, I like this AI better. Why am I always getting 0? It's not on a list, it's an array. Okay. So we want to use a list actually, because an array can go sideways and go down. 3 by 3. We're just listing these just to store them. An array is basically a matrix. So let's do what it says here. So we're going to change it to list exact gaps. Then in here we'll do new list data type, and now we can add it. Alright, then after we do this, we will print gaps dots count and compile. There we go. So I believe this one did nothing. We need this, and then these are all work. Right? No, it did do something because we printed this. No, we printed 594, created the new one, printed 495, and then that last one. Okay, so yeah, I did do something. They both work the same, but we don't need these anymore. So now we have our list of all the fair value gaps. Let's continue with what he was doing. So we
just added, then it should fair value gap draw.
So what he's doing now is after he is adding it, after we have the full array,
Thing.
now we need to get this code in. So we'll do for int j equals gaps dot counts minus 1, j is greater than or equal to 0, j minus minus. Equals gaps at j. Okay, so essentially what he's doing, all this, when all we need to do is, we can actually shorten this, I believe, and just do for each int j in gaps dot count. Okay, yeah, I mean, we know this works. But for him to access all of it, he had to do that, not really sure why, but now we can just copy this. So if we're going to do gaps j dot time greater than, oh wait, time I, so is less than time I. No, let's keep it all the same. So we'll do time I is greater than gaps j dot time plus dot time dot add minutes and then max minutes. If that happens, then gap j dot gaps dot remove j. Remove gaps j. There we go. Now, else if gaps j dot type equals, FG up and low I is less than or equal to gaps j dot low, then gaps dot remove gaps j. So this is probably pretty confusing. I mean, I've seen this a couple times before, but I don't completely even understand this. I mean, basically just copying. So hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't work, not really sure if there's much I'll be able to do, but we can give it a try.
Me down here. And then it should end before the fair value gap is closed. Oh, wait. Now we get a pointer access again. Ah, yeah, because... and then you also have to do this. Because otherwise you're trying to work with an object that was deleted already.
Okay, go.
But yeah, like this, you can now see it ends before the bar that closes.
So now we just have to redraw the one we just deleted, but with the new time. Gaps j time gaps Don't really get what he's trying to do with this, but we'll just go along with it.
But yeah, like this, you can now see it ends before the bar that closes this gap. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So there's... Yeah, I talked about one last thing before where we can see the fair value gaps also in the data.
Let's see if that works. I mean, did it? No, I mean that one didn't. No, it definitely didn't. Let's see, make sure we're running through this. Print j. So if
data window, maybe we can add this as the last thing. It's actually pretty easy. So when you work with indicators, you can have indicator buffers. So we go indicator, no, these and add plots.
so what he's doing right now, he's just adding it to the so that it comes up here. No, so that it shows up here. Oh, it's just one doesn't by default anyway. I thought it would, but I mean, yeah, we're not gonna do that. I think it's kind of pointless because you're only gonna be trading off of it by looking at it. So let's see. I want to see what it's actually even doing in here. And J minus 1. So J is always 0. So from what I can see, it looks like it's just as soon as we draw a new one, then we're just adding it to our list, and then immediately that's the only thing in the list, and then we're immediately doing this, and the only thing we're doing here is just deleting it. So I mean, I don't, yeah, I'm not really sure why it's working in his, because right, he has one parentheses where he adds them, then outside of that, I mean, yeah, see, all he does is delete them as soon as he adds them. Unless it's here, then he draws a new one. He del. What? Yeah, that's the part I don't get. So what we want to do, really, though, we're gonna see if we can fix it do it a little differently. But after we print them all, they should all be in this list. Then if time I'm going to take it out and put it at the end of the fair value gaps logic. So after we have them all already printed, then if time I just don't get what the point of the for loop is if we're just editing it right away. So it's type up is when gap is above it. So if, I think it should be if high I, which is going to be the most recent high, is greater than gaps j dots high, then we remove it. We just want to, I think ours are different from his. All right. Okay, that's doing something. Why is it? It's only doing it for the downs. So let's see, if it's a down, if the low of the current bar is less than or equal to the gap's low, then it's not. Oh, the high greater than or equal to else, then we just draw with the time I. So that's where this else is drawing all of these. Yeah, so this else statement is happening every single time. So yeah, I don't get why this code works for his, but what we want to do is, I mean, for one, this isn't even going through the for loop. It's just as soon as we're adding it to here, we're running through it, which I think is kind of dumb. We could have just, I mean, no, actually we do kind of need it, but we're gonna redo this our own way. So first, right, we're gonna keep this again. So if the time has already passed, then we want to remove the gap. But so now what we're doing is we're storing these in our gaps list. And so, right, so here on this candle, we're going to check if we've broken the fair value gap. And if we do, then we want to close it on that time. So then, else if, yeah, we want to take this. So if it's a type down, so price, so these are downs, right? And if low I is less than or equal to gaps J low, so here, then we want to gap stop, no, first we want to redraw it. So then we'll do draw FBG with gaps J dot time gaps J dot high gaps J dot low. Now time 2 is going to change to time 0, just the most recent bar. And then the type is going to be gaps J dot type. And then we want to gaps dot remove gaps J. So I don't know, I'm not sure if this will remove the other box, because we don't want to draw two boxes on top of each other. But we'll do this and find out. So then if else, just want to take this probably. So if it's a up type, right? So this one, if the high changes to time I think. If the high I, so here, is greater than or equal to the gaps J high, yeah, so that'll work. Then we want to do the same. We want to redraw it, but with the new time. And then else, if none of those are true, then yeah, it should be. Geez, it's a long video. But once we get this, that should be it, and then it should be a pretty good working copy. So now they're even smaller. They're ending on the exact candle. Okay, yeah, now they all just go to the current. Hmm. So these are so you get 0, 1, 0, 1, 1.1. So we never get 1.0. Okay. Okay, so that definitely helps. So now it's actually storing them in the array. But now what's happening, and for one, our oranges aren't doing anything. But then the blues are just, not sure what they're doing. Alright, well, I don't think this is super necessary. So yeah, I'll just comment it out. It's, yeah, I mean, this is sometimes what happens in coding. You get stuck, gotta come back to it. So I probably won't do another video on this just because, I mean, there's already almost like 3 hours of video just on this indicator. But if you guys like it and you do want me to get that fixed, I can definitely figure out some way to do that and make another video. But as of now, I will not plan on it. So here is a fair value gap indicator. You got your inputs, and yeah, hopefully it's useful. Hopefully you found this tutorial useful. But there you go. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm really trying to get my videos to, grow, get my channel to grow. So if you could like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. So thanks for watching. Peace.